Hi, welcome to Organizing Elephants. My name's Darla DeMorrow. You're watching Organizing Elephants on Radnor Studio 21. This is the show where we get organizing wisdom from smart, busy, accomplished women. And I'm so grateful today to have my friend, Jen Anderson, on with me. Hi, Jen. Welcome.
Hi, Darla. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. Jen, we have some show and tell today, which we haven't done yet, so with any of our guests. And I'm just so excited that you're here because you're going to tell us what this is about. But before we get to the show and tell, what's new with you? Tell me about your business.
Okay. So I own Once Upon a Time Creation, and we transform sentimental clothing into lasting keepsakes. So we take anything that's really special to you that's been stuck in the attic or the basement, and we turn it into something that you can use every day. So it might be a blanket or a pillow or a bag or an ornament or really anything that works for your lifestyle. It's really fun.
You know that I love this because all of those things that you just described are things that a lot of times people have trouble doing something with, and they end up being clutter. So from an organizing perspective, you're actually turning clutter into very useful and very meaningful things in their lives. So we'll come back to this, but as everyone knows who watches this show, you know, the millions of people that watch this show know that my guests are typically folks who are women. They have families, and they also have some level of professional expertise, which you check off all those boxes.
Thank you.
So your kids are a little bit older than mine. You have two.
Yes. I've been married for almost 24 years, and I have a freshman in college and a sophomore in high school.
Okay, so high school and college, and those are precious times. How do you keep yourself organized and do everything that you do?
You know, when the kids get older, it gets easier and harder in the same sense. It's a little less taxing. You're not worrying about, bathing them and bedtimes and all those kinds of things. But there's a lot of driving around, before they drive. So a lot of it is knowing ahead of time what you're doing.
Right.
I'm a big paper planner girl.
Right.
Pen to paper is still kind of how I roll.
I love that you just made a face when you said that, like you should be embarrassed about it, but don't be. I mean, really, I've got paper in front of me here, right? Yeah. So there's certainly a place for paper in our lives, and I think you made that face because you're thinking maybe you should be completely digital.
It's a little old school.
It's okay.
We use both.
Mm-hmm.
We use the Google Calendar to keep everyone abreast of what's going on. So when I'll put something in there and invite the kids or invite whoever that needs to know about it. But for my weekly, exactly what's going on, it's pen to paper. And I spend a little time on Sunday night sort of knowing where I'm going for the week.
Brilliant. I like that.
Which is really helpful. Yeah. Actually, Sunday is... I call it Back to Ready Day.
Oh, okay.
My family hates that
Really?
term. I say it, and I feel them all cringe because Back to Ready to me means grocery shopping is done, laundry is done, everyone is set for the week, paperwork is filled out, and we're set. We wake up Monday morning and we're ready to roll.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Yeah, for us, Sunday night is all about like getting people in the bath.
Mm-hmm. right, and making sure you're ready and everything's good to go.
Yeah.
When Sunday's an off day, like it's a holiday or something, and you don't have that back to ready, I feel like it throws the next week off a little bit.
It does.
It's really important to us.
We just had spring break where we are. I'm not sure when this will air or when people watch this, but anytime you have that break in routine, it can really throw you off, right?
Definitely. Yeah. And it takes a little bit to get back, but you do.
Yeah.
It's fun to have a break.
But I love the fact that you're doing it every week, every Sunday you have this back to ready because, if it does get crazy or if you do miss it one week, you just start the next week again, right? It's not like, the world has come to an end and we're never going to be organized again, right? You just pick up next week where you left off.
Make it through. You get through a little bit, but it works.
Right. Now, both of your kids are into everything. They're all over the place, right? Your daughter, she performs. She's a performer on her guitar and a bunch of other things too, I
They're
think.
very creative kids.
Right.
My son is a film major,
Right.
so he actually has been out doing some projects in the area, and so that's been really fun to watch him do his thing and see him in action. And my daughter, who's still at home, she's a musician, so she does things at school, choir and musical, but then she also plays on her own. Her name's Madeline, and she plays 2, 3, 4 times a month out cover. She writes some of her own music. It's
And
really
that's a commitment she's making to wherever she's playing, right? So that's an added layer of organization that you need to care for. And I doubt anybody else is appreciating that quite like the mom in the family, right?
It's true, because you're sort of you have to teach her how to fit that into everything else that's going on, and how to think ahead, and because those are planned, they might be planned 2, 3, 4 months in advance, so you have to keep that in mind on what your commitments are. If you plan a gig 3 months away, then when those 3 months roll around, you really need to figure out, can you commit to something else?
You mean kids don't know how to do that on their own?
They're working on it, but it's a really great life lesson.
Oh, sure.
It's it takes a couple iterations of teaching, but it gets there.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's great. It's always like I say with my kids, and my kids are a little bit younger than yours, but you never teach kids to just wash their hands and teach them once and be done with it, right?
It's a growth process.
It's a growth process, right? I mean, my kids are 9 and 12, and I'm still saying, did you wash your hands? No, I mean, with soap.
Right.
Gotcha. Well, I love that Sunday back to ready. I've heard people call it a Sunday basket, where they go through all their paperwork Sunday night. I have some other folks that I know don't do it on Sunday because people are still there.
Right.
It's
some people just want Sunday to
Yeah.
not be anything.
Exactly.
To have them take the day off.
That's the key, right? Whatever works for you. Yeah.
The other thing I find really helpful at home is planning the menu for the week.
Right.
I'm not totally as organized at home as I am at work, but that really helps. I actually started it because I was kind of sick of people complaining about what was happening for dinner. So for some reason, once I wrote it down, they knew it was happening, and I don't know if they mentally prepared for what we were going to eat or not, but it's turned into a really great tool, just saving money grocery shopping. You know what you're buying, and then in the morning, you know what to put in the crock pot or what you have to defrost, and so the night goes
girlfriend, I knew you were a crock pot girl. I knew that's another reason I loved you.
I'm not a great cook, so the crock pot is my savior.
Oh, and isn't it, I mean, you have to have dinner going by 9 a.m., and then the whole rest of the day, it's like, whatever else is going on during the day, dinner is done.
And then you come home, the house smells great.
Yes.
That's the best part.
It is the best part. I agree with you. So this is interesting, though, and we have meal planning and cooking dinner has come up quite a few times on this show, and I'm not always the one to bring it up. So clearly, we're striking a chord with my guests who are busy, right? And so tell me a little bit more about that. I'm interested to hear. When you say meal planning, are you planning a full meal? Are you just planning a main dish and kind of filling in around the edges on the day that you're cooking? How do you do that?
It's mostly the main dish, you know, kind of what meat or protein you're going to cook. And then we'll have usually like a fresh salad or the vegetable I think is quicker. Yeah. So that is not as well planned, but it's more getting the protein cooked, I think, which is the hard part. Yeah. So yeah, it's mostly the main dish, and then
that's exactly how I do it. And I have a feeling that a lot of people who struggle with getting dinner on the table, it kind of all feels overwhelming. But you and I think, have the same method of plan the main dish, get it cooking early, and then pull something. I pull a lot of things out of the freezer. Oh, sure. For the vegetable.
Yeah, carrots and ranch dip. I mean, you know, really, as long as you have something in the fridge that's that's veggie, or, you know, like you said, freezer's great, and then you can keep them, they don't go bad. So if you miss a week of grocery shopping, you can always pull something out of the freezer. Yeah,
and I make a salad, and it might be available, you know, we'll kind of eat out of that same salad for like 3, maybe sometimes 4 days. So it's not always a fresh salad every night. Yeah, exactly. Great. Okay. Well, what else do you have for me? How else do you keep yourself organized? Because these are all super great tips.
one thing I would recommend is as soon as your kids are old enough, have them do their own laundry.
Yeah.
That takes a lot of pressure off, I think.
And what do you think? My kids aren't doing their own laundry yet. So what do you think the right age is?
That's a good question. I probably started too late. I think my youngest was probably in middle school, but I think they could start earlier than that.
Okay.
It's so much less work for you. You know, we'll still do the towels and the sheets and the house stuff, but everyone being responsible for their own, you just don't realize how much time that takes to hang up and fold and put away. And so I think they could probably start as soon as they can really reach the buttons.
True, right.
They could probably do it, with supervision until they get the hang of it. But it's so worth it. And it gives them responsibility.
I saw a meme or, something on Facebook, and it said, if your kids can operate one of these, and it showed a picture of, an iPad or a phone, if your kids can operate one of these, then they can operate one of these, and it showed a picture of a washer and dryer. Because really, how many buttons are there on my washer and dryer? I think there's 2.
And they pick up everything pretty quick.
Yeah. So I've actually said that to my kids. Don't ask me for another gadget until you can hit the buttons on the washing machine. So
the only caveat of that is you have to sort of accept that they might not always be wearing clean clothes. So
totally fine by me.
If you're okay accepting that, then it's time. They're not going to maybe look perfectly pressed and ironed every time they walk out the door, but I think that's okay.
Yeah. I'm kind of that way with making their bed. I have them strip the sheets on every Saturday I can remember, and then we wash them, and then they make their beds. And sometimes the making the bed, is really suspect. We've had sheets just kind of laying on the mattress and crumpled up, but you know what? I'm not sleeping on it. So
right. If they're comfortable, and that's
they're comfortable. Exactly.
There's their life skill.
Yeah. So now you've got this business. You've got this small business, right, based in Paoli here. And how long has it been going now?
Well, we've had the space for a little over a year. Okay. So it was a year in December. Before that, it probably, I want to say maybe 8 to 10 years.
Yeah.
I say that sort of relatively because it grew slowly as my kids got older. Right. We worked out of home for a while, sort of had the separate entrance, a separate studio. My older son went to a charter school, and so he was home a lot of the week. So it was really great to be able to work and then also be around for him. And so I've sort of grown it as my family's grown, and so that's worked out really well.
Yeah, so Once Upon a Time Creation. And you said something interesting before we got on air, and that was that you feel like you're more organized at work than you are at home, or the other way around? I can't remember.
Definitely at work.
More organized at work, yeah. And that's a thing, that's pretty common, actually. A lot of people will say to me, I feel more organized at home than at work, or at work than at home. It goes either way. So why do you think you're more organized at work, or what works for you there?
I think part of it is that I'm in control of the whole picture, whereas at home, there's a lot of X factors involved. I can only organize so much.
Right.
Whereas at work, I think it's really important the organization goes with timing too. It's important to me when people bring us their special clothing, they're anxious. They want to get it back, and they want to, have their gifts. So I really try to keep to a timeline. We have a production schedule. We actually, I have 3 women that come sew and design and knowing what they're going to work on when they come in. Everyone's part-time. I just think that in itself takes planning. Yeah. And so I end up being more organized.
Yeah. And that is pretty much the case wherever you work, whether you work for yourself like you do, or, you've got external deadlines, your boss needs something, or, you're responsible for producing a budget on a monthly basis or something like that. So if you're responsible to other people, I would say deadlines are good.
Oh, yes, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Now, I think you're being a little modest. Don't you have another business or 2 in the background as well?
Well, my daughter and I started a business where we make ukulele and guitar bags. It's a little bit on hold right now because we're trying to find a production partner and we're having a little bit of trouble doing that.
You're going to watch this playback and you're going to watch your face and you're kind of, she really does this, folks. She really does.
Yes, we did. We designed a whole line of customizable guitar and ukulele bags because she's a musician and we were sick of black gig bags. Right. And it's great. We love it. It's fun.
Fun patterns. Really fun. They're mix and match. They're very youthful and
they're vibrant. They're high quality. You know, we have to protect those instruments.
Yes.
And we do. It's great. And it's been great doing it together. We've gotten to travel to Nashville and Los Angeles to go to conventions. So it's been a great experience. I'm just hesitant because it's really hard to find a production partner that is produces the quality that you want, you know, for the price that you want and that you trust. And, you know, quality is so important. So we're working on that.
Yeah. So it's still something that you are working on. So that's business number 2. Do you have a third one? I can't recall.
Well, I mean,
I don't want to put you on the spot.
No. I mean, I sort of manage Madeline's music stuff a little bit. I help her, you know, book gigs and keep herself organized. So she does, obviously she writes the songs and she does the practices and all that kind of stuff, but I help her schedule things out.
Are we going to see her on American Idol? Because if she were on American Idol, my kids would be glued to the TV.
No. I feel like she needs to, I follow her lead, you know. I when she's having a good time and enjoying what she's doing, then it's great and she'll want to keep doing it. So whatever she wants to do, we're behind her.
That's amazing. Well, speaking of our little ones, I do want to show off some of your work. I had you make this a couple years ago for me, and I'm kind of bragging here on you. You don't mind if I do for a second, right? These are twin-size blankets that you remember making these.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
They were great.
It was only like 3 years ago, I think. And I had saved some of the baby blankets and some of the baby clothes, not all the baby clothes, but I had like one bag left, and I handed them over to you. And I don't know if you remember, I told you this. I said, I don't feel like this looks like anything. And I said, I don't think it's going to end up being pretty. And so you can call me and tell me, like, you can't do anything with this. I remember saying that to you. And you're like, don't worry about it. We'll make it happen. And you said, I'm not sure if we have enough to make a blanket. Turns out we had enough to make 2 twin-size blankets. And I have it folded this way because there's 3 pieces that I love here. This was a cape. This was the ducky hood. I don't know if we can get that on camera. Yeah, and I was like, I don't think you're going to be able to do anything, right? It was all this negative stuff I was saying to you. This was a swimsuit that I really enjoyed having the kids wear. Both of my kids wore that, actually, I think. And then this was also a swimsuit, the little behind, the ruffle of the behind.
The butt of the
exactly.
suit.
I have a thing for ruffle butts. I do.
Everybody does.
Yeah.
It's so cute.
But everyone, I won't bore you, but every single one of these squares was either a blanket or this was a little sleeper. And they all meant something. And you, this is your process. For blankets like this, right? You cut them into squares, and then you quilt them. And then I'll show on this one here. Why don't you turn up that corner? So this is a monogram. So I have one blanket for each kid, and they each have a monogram on them. And then you put this wonderful soft backing on. It's a chenille backing. So actually, I don't know if I told you this, but when I had my surgery a couple years ago and I was couch bound for 3 solid weeks, I couldn't get off the couch. I actually laid under one or 2. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're very cozy.
They're
and you're not the only
cozy.
one that says that when they come in with all their clothes.
Yeah.
They can't picture what it's going to look like. They think the colors don't go together. But our feeling is that if it's important to you and it has some sentimental value, it's going to work.
Right.
So our job is to make that happen.
Yeah. We do the same thing when we're decorating. I always say, if it's something that makes your heart sing,
right,
it will, we can make it work, and we can usually make it fabulous in a way that you can't envision right now. And that's exactly what you did with this. I love these. The girls sleep on them every night. And the funny thing is, these are their baby clothes. They don't really have these memories. These are my memories. Right. But it was so worth it. And I was thinking about, the cost, and it was just it was a really, they're not cheap, right? These are bespoke.
There's a lot of labor involved.
There's a lot of labor. They are bespoke items, and But compared to so they're more expensive than like if you went and bought a blanket at
Sure,
TJ Maxx, for sure. But they are keepsakes. I'm never going to get rid of these. Absolutely.
And we make everything to be used.
Yeah.
We we've been doing this a long time, so we know what stitches last. We make everything machine washable.
Right.
They're meant to be loved and they're meant to be used.
Yeah, exactly. My kids wore these clothes for years, passed them down from one kid to another, and now we're still using them. But these aren't the only things that you make. You have turned some keepsake fabrics, again, that usually we find in the back of people's closets or shoved under beds. Sometimes not even. Sometimes there's a chair in the bedroom that's just piled with clothing, maybe a mother or father has passed away and you can't bear to part with some of their things, and so they end up piled in my clients' homes right out in the open, and they're not enjoying them. They have the memory, but they also have the clutter. So you brought some other things with you. Pass them over, girlfriend. Let's look at them.
I mean, along with the blankets, I don't have one, but it's graduation season right now.
Oh, right.
So we do a lot with jerseys and T-shirts.
Camp T-shirts.
Camp T-shirts. And that is so much fun for someone to receive basically a whole life story at graduation. Right. It's just so much fun.
Yeah.
I don't think they realize how much they've accomplished until they kind of see it.
Until they see it all laid out.
And it's really, it's great.
Yeah.
I love it. So some of the things we brought, this is actually my grandmother's wedding gown. So we do a lot with wedding gowns. This is a wristlet. We also do a clutch. And, christening gowns and christening blankets and jewelry bags. A lot of people will make something for themselves and then something else to pass on to the next generation or, share with their kids or that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I don't think you brought one with you, but this reminds me of your Christmas ornaments, too.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So it's kind of the same,
It is.
Size and shape, bigger or smaller.
Angels
Yeah.
And different shapes. Their father was a mechanic, so she asked us to do a car. So we made a car for her from my
fun.
shirt. So it really... if you have a request, we try to help out.
Yeah.
There's always a story with everything.
You have another purse over there, don't you?
So this is a clutch out of a family fur.
Oh, wow.
So this up here is the lining and the fur. So many people have these furs stuck in the attic or closet. A lot of them have the person's initials monogrammed on the inside. They've been passed down, 2, 3, 4 generations.
And you can't wear them anymore. I was just talking about this. One of my neighbors actually is kind of clearing out their family home. They're actually moving back into their family home, and there's a fur.
Oh.
And and my daughter said, "Oh, I'll take it," and she didn't realize kind of where we are in the political and the cultural scheme of things. And you can't really. I mean, people do. I know. I'm not trying to pass judgment, but this sort of thing can be used all the time.
It's so classic.
Yeah.
You can wear it casual, you can wear it dressed up. There's 3 different sizes.
Yeah.
And we do pillows out of these also. So people have pillows.
Pillow would be great.
As a little accent in their home, which is really great.
Yeah. I love that idea.
And
you do all of this in your studio in Paoli.
Yes.
These are all handled, handmade.
We're very fortunate to have very talented women working with us, and we do all the design in the studio. If someone's local, they come in and they bring their clothing, and we talk through it together.
Or you pick it up.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Or I pick it up.
Yeah. Sometimes if there's a group of people that want to get together and do blankets together or something, we'll kind of go to them.
Yeah.
But we can also do things by mail. So we've gotten a lot of things from across the country because we do a lot of different keepsakes under one roof. So it helps when someone wants different gifts for different generations. So someone might want a blanket and then pillows, and then we can sort of do all of that at the same time.
And then, I just realized actually that there's a little elephant sitting over there.
There is.
Did you bring the elephant because of the show's name? I really did not click in.
You were saying that people have these clothes from a loved one who's passed away, and honestly, that is just such a special part of what we do. It's so special. The clothes.
So what does this elephant
more,
have to do with clothing that somebody's...
Because this is from a button-down shirt.
No.
So, yeah, so we do an elephant and other stuffed animals, a lot of times made out of shirts, blankets, robes, anything that's special. It's a great little something to hug.
That is fabulous. I love it. In fact, I know one of my clients did something like this out of ties, same sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, well, this has been great, Jen. I really appreciate you coming, bringing an elephant for us to enjoy. We love organizing elephants because how do you eat an elephant?
One bite at a time.
One bite at a time. And, knowing fabulous people like you, having these resources here in our local area, I just really am fortunate that I get to share them with my audience. So once again, I wanted to thank you for watching Organizing Elephants. I hope you've enjoyed meeting Jen Anderson. Her shop is in Paoli, and it's called help me out.
Once Upon a Time Creation.
Once Upon a Time Creation. Sorry about that. But thank you for watching Organizing Elephants here on Radnor Studio 21.